Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn, guys. It's Monday again. It's Monday, and the start of another week, guys. Another week we can make history. Definitely. You always can make history any week of the week, any week of the year. You can make history, guys. And let's hope that Man United get a move on this week, of course, guys. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning, early in the morning, breaking dawn in. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. If you guys can possibly do that, hopefully my audio is all good. I know I had problems with my audio the other day. So if I have any problems, just give me a shout, guys. Absolutely great to have you on board, guys. Of course, and firstly, I want to say congratulations to the England women's team who won the European Championships for the second time in a row, guys. Absolutely fantastic news if you are English, like me, of course. But you got to celebrate it. You got to take the positives. And you know what? Fantastic. And they're leading the way in regards to mentality, winning, getting over the line. It doesn't matter if you're women's team, men's team. It doesn't matter. You get it over the line, guys. And that's what it's all about. And they did that yesterday. They did that. And congratulations to them. Really, really chuffed. Absolutely, guys. Again, you know what I mean? You got to take every blessing in life and don't turn everything into a negative, because at the end of the day, they are an inspiration and they won for England, of course, guys. But now let's get straight into it. Look, the transfer window has been absolutely crazy. It's been absolutely mad, you know, and we've had a lot of debates here and there about what Man United can do to change the transfer window. How can they retrieve the transfer window? Now, look, it's not in the realms of impossibility that Man United could change the transfer, how we feel about the transfer window. Yes, it's going to be late, but better late than never, as they say. So if Man United manage to bring in a couple of players that I feel, and I'm going to tell you the players that we're linked with, if they manage to do this, I think they can retrieve this transfer window and make it more of a successful transfer window, although it is late. Okay, but they can retrieve it. But they have to at least get these players in that I'm about to say, guys. Absolutely. Now, rumor has it that Mateta of Crystal Palace wants to leave Selhurst Park. Apparently, Manchester United are very interested in Mateta. And as I've always said, Mateta is my third choice in regards to strikers. He was always my third. I would put him now. Look, I'm not going to be flip-floppy, if that even is a word. I'm not going to flip-flop this, but I did say that Mateta is third. But I look at things now, and I think that Mateta would have a greater impact at Man United than Gyökeres would. And I'll tell you why. Because he's got this physicality. He can head the ball. He can hold up the ball. He can dominate games. And I feel like if we got a Mateta up front, alongside Cunha and Mbeumo, I think that would be fire. I think it would be. And I think that would be very dangerous. That alone would cause opposition teams to sit back, to go back, instead of trying to attack us. And then once you get a strike force like that little trio there, you don't have to worry too much about defending and about midfield and stuff. You've got a killer strike force up front. Yes, it's important that you have a steady midfield and you have a balanced midfield. But if you bought a Mateta alongside Cunha and Mbeumo, I think that is going to be dangerous. You can feel it. If you think about Mateta as a player, you can feel that would be an absolute game-changing transfer, you know? And there is links going around that Man United could approach Crystal Palace in regards to Mateta. I heard a lot of this over the last few weeks in regards to when I was in Italy. I heard a lot of rumors that could Man United move for Mateta? Could they move for him? But at the moment, at that time, they were not moving for him. But now you're starting to see the plants of the seed in the media in regards to Mateta. Now, obviously, Crystal Palace qualified for Europe. People are going to say we have no right to talk to Mateta. But obviously, they're in the Conference League. They're not in the Europa League. However unfair that is, they got relegated to the Conference League because of breaking the rules or some rubbish like that. Well, at the end of the day, it works for some, it works for others. It doesn't work for others, isn't it? Look at Man City. They can break 1,000 rules. That doesn't really matter. But Crystal Palace, oh, no, throw the book at you. But anyway, Mateta, John-Philippe Mateta, is a great player, a fantastic player, highly underrated player for me. And I think if we sign Mateta, I'll be just as excited as if we sign Gyökeres. I would be, because this guy is a beast. Every single time we played against Mateta last season and the season before, it's been problems. You know what I mean? So I would happily bring him into the football club. Absolutely. A complete game changer that would be. And if the rumors are true, if the people were telling me that Man United could make an approach, a late approach from Mateta, I would be delighted with that because it's one of the players, the top 3 players that I want at Manchester United. And you know what? I don't know how you feel about that, guys, but I do feel he'd be more effective than Sesko, even though I wouldn't cry and turn my nose up at Sesko, just to let you know. But I think he'd be more, he'd probably be more cheaper as well, you know, in regards to that. He probably can get him for about 50. You know, so that is good news coming out of the airways. Whether it materializes, whether it comes true is another completely different story, of course, guys. But I like this player. I think this player is heavily underrated, and I think he will be brilliant at Manchester United. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Hope you're all blessed. Thank you so much for joining me this early morning, of course. Good morning, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? I'll be doing well. Congratulations to the English women. Absolutely. Good morning, Sanjay. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And good morning to the Chatterboxers. Absolutely. Big up yourself. Big up, Benny. How you doing, my friend? And big up, Dabizas. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you as well. Randall, good morning. How you doing? How you doing? Good morning, sir. Any news on the Baleba camp? Now, look, I'm going to get straight into the Baleba thing. There was news circulating from various journalists yesterday about Baleba, about Man United could quite possibly make a move for Baleba. Now, I honestly think, and I said this a few times over the last few weeks, is that Man United watch social media. They watch social media, they watch content creation, and they see who people are talking about, who people admire, who the fans like. For example, Baleba. And Baleba is a name that has been mentioned many times on this channel. The problem with Baleba is his price tag. And obviously, he's quite new at Brighton, so his price tag will be quite significant. You're looking at 60, 70 million euros, guys, for someone like Baleba. But Baleba is a game changer. And I did say that many, many times, as is Adam Wharton, is also a game changer for me. And I do believe that if Man United are going to save this window, if they're going to retrieve the embarrassment that they have, you know, conducted this last few weeks, this is the type of signing that they need to do. This is the type of signing. They need to bring in a Wharton or bring in a Baleba, bring in a Mateta, players of that ilk, and then we're going to be like, oh, well, fair play. In Mbumo, Cunha, Baleba, you know, Mateta. My goodness me. That would be like, yeah, well, at least they got the players in and we can't complain about that. You know, if they manage to get a goalkeeper in, that is absolutely unbelievably good, of course, guys. But yeah, look, Baleba, of course, I'm going to bring this in now. Baleba of Brighton and Hove Albion is a beast of a midfielder, generational of a midfielder, the next up-and-coming midfielder, you know, in the Premier League. Very, very good. Reminds me a lot of Yaya Toure. Absolute animal in that midfield, can get that ball, bring it forward, can tackle, retrieve the ball, be an absolute game changer for Manchester United. It absolutely would. And news coming out that Man United are inquiring about Baleba at the moment, and you know, which is good news, guys. That's good news. At least we're looking at the right players. I want us to look at the right players. I don't want to see things like Calvert-Lewin and players like that. They have to make these moves. They have to, because Man United came 15th last season. They have to make these mad moves. You know, look, at the end of the day, if we were champions, we can rest on our laurels, but we're not. And we're not bloody Leicester City. We have to act like Manchester United. We have to act like Manchester United in the transfer window. And we have to look at it and say, okay, in the Premier League, who's been killing it? Who's been killing it in the Premier League? Oh, Mateta has, Baleba has. Go and get him. Go and get them. That's how it should be. This is how this window should have been. Go and get them. Doesn't matter how much it costs. Get them. And that's how it should have been, you know what I mean, in this transfer window. Again, with Brighton and Hove Albion, look, you look at the way they do business, the way they scout. You know, it's inspirational the way they get players from nowhere, and then they create them into world-class players. That's unbelievable. And then they sell them for a huge profit. Unbelievable, of course, guys. Really is unbelievable. And you know what? Bringing in Mateta, Baleba, bring in Mateta would absolutely shock the airways, wouldn't it, at the end of the day? There's a lot of people out there that are preying on Manchester United's downfall. And for Man United to try and build our way back up, coming from the depths of the sea and going to the top of the league, it's going to be extremely difficult. But to do that, you're going to have to make big moves. You're going to have to take big risks. That is how successful people do things. That's how it's done. You're going to have to take big risks in life if you're going to be successful. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you can't be scared and you can't be penny pinching. Penny pinching in football is not the way to go. In any business in the world, penny pinching is not the way to go about things. So the links to Mateta, the links to Baleba, I love that. That is what I want. That is what's going to change Manchester United. Absolutely. Of course it is. Of course, there is obviously the big debate about Bruno Fernandes as a number 8, Bruno Fernandes as a number 10. Look, at the end of the day, look, I don't think anyone, as I repeat, I said it many, many times, I don't think anyone in that football squad should be guaranteed a spot in this Manchester United team. Why? It's because they failed. They failed. Every single one of them. I don't want to single out anyone, but every single one of those players, to a man, failed last season and failed in various seasons, some of them. So none of them deserve a spot in this Manchester United team at the end of the day. None of them. At the end of the day, I would give special treatment to the young players. For example, Aiden Heaven, Lenny Yoro, those type of players. Maybe Ahmad, I would give them special treatment because they're young. But the rest of them who are inexperienced, I don't think they should be guaranteed spots in the football team. Now, if Man United sign Baleba, Man United's midfield will start to look a little bit tasty, wouldn't it? Especially, we got Ugarte in there, Kobe Mainu hopefully will come good again, and it will start getting a little bit tasty. But no, what I would say is that this is one that we should sit back, lean back, and look at it and think, you know what? I hope it happens, but I doubt it's going to happen, because the rumors circulating, yes, but I just don't see Ineos as ambitious as that to do a deal like this. You have to be ambitious to do these type of deals. The Mateta, the Belabers, you have to be ambitious. You have to want to win to do these type of deals. These are the type of deals that Chelsea do. These are the type of deals, that Liverpool do. They will just get him. They got McAllister. They just got him. Just go and get Baleba. Go and get Baleba. Go and get Mateta. And then we'll be looking at you, Ineos, and thinking, do you know what? Fair play. Fair play. That's what we will be doing, because I don't want to come on here and say, be negative all the time and start saying, oh, Ineos are this, Ineos are that. At the moment, they've got no leg to stand on in defense of what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, the fans are right. The fans are right. The fans, the ones who actually have a brain, are right. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there's people who do support Ineos blindly, do still and then indirectly support the Glazers. Unfortunately, you can be like me, where you can say, look, I'm going to analyze what they do, and then I'm going to analyze it at the end of the transfer window. So I'm going to watch it as it's going along, and then I'm going to analyze it at the end of the transfer window. That's what I'm going to do. So, good morning, Marky Mark. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up the community. How are you, my friend? Very good, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Did you enjoy the game? Love the intensity. Still a lot to do. Seeing some progress going, Man United. Yeah, it was a much better first half, I would say, Marky Mark, in regards to Man United against West Ham the other day. It was a good first half, and I was impressed by a lot of the work that was done in that thing. But as I said, I'm not going to flip-flop on this, Marky Mark, is that, I didn't overreact in the Leeds United game, of course, but I picked out some positives. I like to pick out positives in the game. And I'm going to do this with this game because I know it's a friendly, Can Man United keep up that intensity? Because we've seen it before. We've seen Pereira, pre-season Perlo. Do you remember that? So can Man United keep up this intensity in the games? And that is the thing that I would say. Can Ugarte keep up the way he played in that game? Mainu, the way he kept the ball and stuff. I want to see that, to be honest with you. I want to see a consistency in Manchester United that, what I look at and I think, yeah, we got it. We're there. Hopefully these players have finally clocked onto the formation and the tactics, and we can go forward and start playing some decent football. We deserve decent football. We're Manchester United. We invented decent football, for goodness sake, especially in the Premier League. The Premier League, before Man United came around, the Premier League was in the doldrums, in the mud, in regards to talent, in regards to tactics, in regards to entertaining football. It was Manchester United who put English football back on the map when English football was banned because of Liverpool in Europe and stuff like that. And it was had a bad reputation. And Man United brought English football back, right? The Premier League. And thank you very much, by the way. We're never going to get a thank you, but thank you very much, by the way. That's what it is. And right, I know I'm drifting off here a little bit, but what I would say is that, we want to see a good Manchester United team, because that is what Man United are. That is what Man United are all about. From the Busby Babes to now, Man United should always play entertaining, goal-scoring, attacking, pressing football. It doesn't matter what shape you put yourself in, as long as it's attacking football. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Sir Alex Ferguson would throw 3, 4, 5 players up front just to get a goal. He would take that risk. Football's about risk. Winning's about risk at the end of the day, in my opinion. Big up, Marky Mark. Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you, of course. Big up, David Sass. Monday, fun day, absolutely. Big up, Timo. What's going on, my friend? Oh, morning. Oh, I hate Monday. Tell me why, Timo. Absolutely why I hate Mondays. Yeah, look, you know what I would say, Timo? Yeah, Monday, just another day, just to go and get it. Go and get it. After this stream, I'm on the treadmill. I've got to burn off all those Aperol spritz that I've been having this last few weeks. That's what I've got to do. I've got to feel the pain now, unfortunately, and my knees are not quite as good as they used to be. But what I would say, guys, is that, you know what, there is obviously a huge cloud over Manchester United at the moment. And what I've seen, which is a bit disappointing, is that I'm seeing other fans just looking at other teams, talking about Arsenal, talking about that, and we're completely neglecting Man United. Some people are completely forgotten about Man United and are talking about Arsenal or talking about Liverpool and Chelsea and stuff like that because they don't believe in Man United anymore. And that is the biggest sadness for me in regards to that, because I am seeing people forgetting about Manchester United, and this is what they are doing at the moment. So they have to fix this, because there will be a time that some of these Man United fans are going to think, you know what, they can't be bothered anymore. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And they're just going to leave talking about Man United. No one's going to talk about Man United anymore because we're getting left behind. We're only up here. We're only basically, how do you say it? Potent in the social media world because of our past. That's all we are at the moment. We are being held up by a pillar because of our past. That is what it is at the moment. And, you know, and that is sad in a way, of course, because at the end of the day, you know what, when time goes on, that pillar is going to start deteriorating and it's all going to come falling down, and no one will ever remember when Man United was successful again. So we really, really need to get it going this window. We really need to. And to do that, sign a Baleba, if Man United signed Baleba and Mateta, okay? If Man United signed Baleba and Mateta, it'd be one of the best windows. It'd be the best season. Man United would have had the best preseason, in my opinion, in regards to the window. I would say that honestly. Because you look at Cunha, Mbeumo, Baleba, and Mateta, someone like that, you can't. That is stronger what Liverpool got, in my opinion. That's stronger. You know what I mean? I would say. Now, there was a lot of rumours circulating yesterday about Donnarumma, the PSG goalkeeper, who is hesitant at the moment to stay in Paris for whatever reason, of course, guys, but is hesitant to stay in Paris and could move away from Paris Saint-Germain. This has alerted Manchester United in regards to the goalkeeper, as Man United need a new goalkeeper, considering that Onana has not impressed Manchester United over this, especially this last year, 2 years, costing Man United a Europa League final and a Champions League place a couple of years ago. Now, everyone has been talking about Donnarumma as a possible candidate to go to Galatasaray. So Galatasaray are very interested in Donnarumma at the moment. So whilst Donnarumma is being gaining the interest of Galatasaray, why cannot Man United jump in? Why Man United can't jump in, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, if he's good enough, if Galatasaray is good enough to go to Galatasaray are not Manchester United. Why can't Man United jump in? Why can't they jump in? Now, it does seem like Donnarumma wants a new challenge. He probably wants to play in the Premier League. And I feel like if Man United signed a player like Donnarumma, who is rumoured to be interested by Manchester United, you know, that would be a complete game changer. This is what I'm talking about, changing the window. Fixing the window. This is what I'm talking about. You can fix it, Ineos. You can fix it if you want to, right? If you can fix this if you want to. Donnarumma, Baleba, Mateta, bring those three players in. My goodness me, people are going to love you. Let me tell you that right now, because that is what Man United need. That's going to be strengthening Manchester United extremely. And we'll be confident on the first game against Arsenal. At the moment, we're stuck in a hard place. We're really difficult for us to foresee anything positive, because at the moment you're looking at it, yeah, we got Cunha and Mbeumo, but what else we got? You know, we still got the surrounded by players who failed for many, many years now. So a player like Donnarumma, a leader, a winner, guys, a winner, Champions League winner, a European Championship winner, would be an absolute game changer. Now, look, many people are going to throw this at me, right? Oh, but why would he come to Manchester United to play for PSG? PSG are not Manchester United. Manchester United are astronomically bigger than PSG. PSG have become successful because they had the Qataris 20 years ago. And that's why they become successful. Fair play to them, they got the Qataris. And that is what Man United needed, by the way. But Manchester United are still Manchester United, which is why Mbeumo, which is why Cunha signed for Manchester United, because we are Manchester United at the end of the day. And we still have that reputation there. As fading as it is, we still have it there. And still some people know who we are. Some people still understand our history. It's not just about qualifying for the Champions League. It's not just about Arsenal, who make up the numbers, and Tottenham and Newcastle, who make up the numbers in the Champions League, because that's what they're doing at the end of the day, making up the numbers. They never win the Champions League, so there's no point even being in it. I don't see any point in being in the Champions League if you're not bloody going to aim to win it at the end of the day. It's all about money, isn't it? But teams like Manchester United are hit different. Teams like Man United hit different. Forget about the ownership. They have nothing to do with what we are, our heritage, our history. They have nothing to do with what we are. But teams like Manchester United, we are elite. We are what make football what it is today. Not your Man Cities, not your Chelseas, not your Tottenhams, not your Newcastles. It's Manchester United that make football. They are the ones. Because if Manchester United left the Premier League right now, the Premier League would be boring and it would crumble. No matter how bad Man United are, Man United will still be the kingpins of the Premier League. We are holding up the Premier League. That is what it is at the end of the day. And if anyone says different, they're lying. Because look at the World Club Championship, the viewing figures, the stadium, the attendance for the World Club Championship final was like 80,000, right? Man United West Ham preseason friendly, 81,000. That is Manchester United. That's why Manchester United should have been in the World Club Championship. It should have been a historical value, not last 4 years value. That's why I didn't take it seriously. That's why I didn't watch it. Because the only reason I kept half an eye on it is to scout from Flamengo and teams of that ilk. So what I would say is this, right? Man United can come back. They can come back in this window. They can get a Baleba. They can get a Mateta, right? And if they did that, fabulous. You know what I mean? Then we can go on and have a little bit more confidence. No, I'm not saying that Man United need to challenge for the league. We do. Ultimately, we do need to challenge for the league. And our expectations should be there. Not in 2028, now. Not then, now. Why are you waiting till then? Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. It can happen. Football, anything can happen in football. Go and do it now. Stop resting in your laws and go and do it now. You want to challenge for the league? Forget about 2028. Do it now. But we're not saying that. At the end of the day, we're not saying that Man United must win the league next season. What we're saying is that Man United need to have a possibility, need to give themselves a chance. You know, so if they sign Baleba and Mateta, I believe, and a goalkeeper, i.e. Lamens or Donnarumma, I believe that would significantly change Man United, revolutionize Man United, and will become a championship challenging team. I really do think that. I think that, guys, because then you get all the other players and you have a squad. You know, you start having a squad, and that is what we need, and we've lacked. Ephraim, big up. Sal, do you abandon strikers for midfielders? No, absolutely not. We do not abandon anything for anything. Grayo, big up, Grayo. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Do you actually think we'll sign anyone this week? So bloody frustrating. We need strike and cleaners are not acting on it. Grayo, you know what I would say is that Man United took 50 days to sign Mbeumo, didn't they? You know, which was absolutely disgraceful in itself, you know, especially when Mbeumo on the 2nd of June agreed to come to Manchester United. That should never have been the case. Do I think Man United will sign a striker this week? Absolutely not. I don't think that. I think Man United will probably get deals done very late in the transfer window. I wouldn't be surprised if Man United get a deal done a day before the transfer window closes on September the 1st. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I wouldn't be surprised if it drags into August. I'm very interested and intrigued to see what they do. For me, they've already failed. They failed so far. They failed in this window. What the biggest window? This was their biggest test at the end of the day, was to bring, you know, to show us how they care about what's going on the pitch and not just about a regeneration project, finances and things like that. This was their chance. They could have made something of this window, even if they did it on the cheap. They could make something on this window. Signing Lamens. They could have signed Richard Rios. They could have signed these players, right? Because they are cheap. Right? There are players out there, you know, Javi Guerra of Valencia. There's players out there that Man United could get for cheap, you know, who are good players. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they're doing anything apart from being tunnel visioned in what they're doing in regards, we want a striker, we're going for a striker, we put all our eggs in the basket, and we're not concentrating on anything else, despite Man United in a severe need for reinforcements all around the squad, guys. Because when you look at the overriding concerns against West Ham United, the fact was that Manchester United are good as the first team. It's all right. But when we start getting into the second team, the second string team, we start getting to the bare bones and we start exposing the Man United squad, that our squad is not good enough, in my opinion. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing? End of the day now. We will never hear the end of it now. Big up, Stephen. Yeah, well, Stephen, you know what? You know, at the end of the day, England get to finals. England win trophies. You know what I mean? Whether it's the women, whether it's the men, England win trophies. Look, at the end of the day, England are one game away for a couple of tournaments now from winning 2 trophies in the England men's team. Now, at the end of the day, you could hate on that. At the end of the day, you know what? England have produced very talented people over the years. And that's unfortunate for Irish people and people like that. And I love my Irish people. But over the years, musically, sporting-wise, everything like that, England smash it. Pound for pound, the greatest. And you have to say that because it's such a small country. And, you know, you think about music, you think about film, you think about sport. Huge influence, man. Absolutely. I hate to rub it in, Stephen, but you know what? I take my blinking glasses off now. Anthony's deal, how far is it now? Big news in regards to Al Nassr and Anthony. Of course, I mentioned it yesterday on yesterday's show, Chatterbox. I mentioned it that Anthony is very close to signing for Al Nassr. Anthony, surprisingly, is very interested in signing for Al Nassr to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. The price fee is 50 million. As I said a week ago, 50 million is the price for Anthony, and that will be a good price for Manchester United. It does seem that Al Nassr are willing to pay that amount of money, which will help Man United significantly in this transfer window to get rid of a player and his wages and get 50 million in. Of course, Man United won't be able to spend the whole amount because of FFP and PSR, but it would help us significantly if we manage to get rid of that player. Now, there are other players that are interested. And look, we're going to take our time. Some players are going to take time to leave. Garnacho, Anthony, players of that ilk, they're going to take a little bit more time to leave. They will leave, but you know what? As I said, this window is going very slow. It's going on slow motion mode. And, you know, we're snoozing in this window. We're cruising at 20,000 feet. We're not really basically speeding up. Guys, at 38,000 feet, we are basically taking our time right now on this transfer window, ins and out. You know, I do believe by the 1st of September, we would have had an element of positivity. I think there will be some players that have come in. There will be some players that have left. And there will be an element of more enthusiasm around Manchester United. But that shouldn't be discount the incompetence that has happened this last window because it has been extremely slow. And Man United needed to be a lot quicker than they are right now. Absolutely. Big up Awera, by the way. Thank you so much. Fergatov, good morning. How are you doing? Praying Anthony effort ASAP. Absolutely. Look, Anthony doesn't want to play for Manchester United. It's pretty obvious that he doesn't want to play for Manchester United. He wanted to go to Real Betis, but Real Betis can't pick up the money. So at the end of the day, what can we do about that? If Real Betis love you so much, Anthony, why haven't they not paid the money? So the fact that Al Nassr are coming in with an offer for Anthony is good for Manchester United. It will help Manchester United. I hope it materializes. I hope he goes there. I hope he signs the contract. Good for him. He'll make a lot of money. He hasn't been unprofessional. Let me just clear that up right now. Anthony has not been unprofessional. Anthony has not resorted to social media, spats and things like that. You know, he's actually been professional in regards to a Manchester United player. And we have to respect that about him, you know. But he needs to leave. He needs to leave. He doesn't want to play for Man United. So he needs to leave and we need to move on from Anthony, of course, and other players, of course. Big up. Kenny, good morning. Get Mateta cheaper than Sesko. He is cheaper than Sesko and he'll probably be more effective than Sesko as well. A lot more older than Sesko as well. We have to add that in there. But in regards to Mateta is a fantastic player, highly underrated. Very old school kind of centre forward that, you know what, would change Man United's dynamics significantly. Trust me, it would. Right? It would be more dangerous than bloody Gyökeres. Let me tell you that right now. You know, you can imagine Mateta in the first game of the season against Arsenal, causing havoc in the box. Alongside Mbeumo and Cunha, we got some power up there, guys. And that's what we've lacked. Be honest, guys. Man United have not been powerful. We've been a very lightweight team. We've been very nice. We've not been powerful. We've not been mean, you know, as a Man United, which we used to be, of course. Big up, Gray, you legend. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, as usual, for your generosity and your endless and wavering support for the channel. Grayo, Mr. Chatterbox. Absolutely. He is Mr. Chatterbox. He is Mr. Grayo. Big up, Grayo. Hope you're well. Meet Mateta and Costa from Porto needed ASAP. Then we can get Garnacho money for buy Edison. Costa conflicts me. I don't think Costa is in the top 5 goalkeepers in the world. I think that a goalkeeper like Lamens will be more effective. The reason is, if you watch the game against Man United against Porto this season, the season just passed, the 3-3, Costa never makes great saves. He never. He's a very steady goalkeeper. He's not a goalkeeper that has personality. He's like a watered down David De Gea. So I would not go for Costa, especially the price is going to be big as well. I'd rather go for Lemens, and I would try my luck with Donnarumma. That's what I would do at the end of the day. Costa, obviously, there might be a chance Man United sign Costa because of the Portuguese influence and stuff like that. That's the case. And he is better than Onana. Of course he is. He's not my first choice, though. Absolutely not. Big up Fergatov, though. Revert 7, Mateta proven Premier Goalkeeper will and will bully centre-backs. Exactly, Revert 7. I don't know why this is not being emphasised further and further. If I was in that Manchester United entourage, I would say to them, you know, Mateta, do you see Mateta? This guy is an animal. We need to fight to get this guy. He would want to come to Manchester United. Of course he wants to come to Manchester United. Of course he would. You know, he would love to come to Man United. And then we'll have three players in Bumo, Cunha and Mateta, three beasts up front, and that's what Man United need, absolutely. Big up, Cornish, my friend. Hope you're doing, Melissa. Hope you're well. Morning, everyone. I don't have a preference for Mateta or Sesko. Either one would be great for us. At the moment, I think this is what people are edging towards, that, you know what, they feel that they don't care anymore. They just want a striker in there. Mateta's a better player than Sesko, and we have to understand that he will cause more havoc than Sesko. Sesko scored 13 goals and 33 appearances in the Bundesliga, guys. Let me just tell you that right now. That is incredibly poor return for a striker in the Bundesliga, especially for a 22, 23-year-old when you're meant to be reaching your elements of your peak. Remember that the Premier League is a different kettle of fish. The Premier League is a completely different animal. So when I look at strikers, for me, it's like if it was Gyökeres, Osimhen, or Mateta, I would be like, yeah. And people say, oh, Gyökeres didn't score in the Premier League. He's never scored in the Premier League, but he scored in the Champions League. That's the difference, right? Sesko's never scored in the Champions League. So what I would say is that Mateta would be that one I would put at the top of the tree. And I think Man United should be fighting tooth and nail for that player. Absolutely should be. Because watch Man United against Crystal Palace over the last year. Watch them. Watch Mateta, what he does, dominating the game. Watch the FA Cup final against Man City. Dominated the game. Mateta was man of the match. Those sort of players were. Big game player. Multi-club ownership is why a player list is in the Conference League. Yeah, and that's unfair, Yale. Isn't it? That's unfair. Isn't it unfair? But RB Leipzig, Salzburg, and all this business, in my opinion. But I don't care anyway. It's not us. Big up, Albie. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see the legend that is Albie. Thank you so much, Albie, for joining the stream, of course. Guys, by the way, I've got a blog, a vlog, or whatever you say it, on my short videos, my trip to Naples and Qatar and Doha and stuff like that. Go and check it out. Drop a comment, please. Please don't forget to smash a like as well. I'm going to be doing some videos for my memberships, my members only videos, but I'm also going to be doing some videos like this on the short videos as well. Something different as well. Give you a little insight to what I do. So I'm going to be doing some where I live as well in the UAE and stuff like that. So that will be interesting. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you, Albie, for becoming a member as well, as usual. Urara, Mateta is the deal now because he will cost us less than Sesko. No, not Sesko, he will cost us a lot of money. And obviously, Sesko is more proven, of course. Where will Donnarumma go now? What are the chances of Man United out? Look, as long as Galatasaray are in for Revert 7, as long as Galatasaray are in for Donnarumma, what makes people think that Man United can't be in with a chance? You know, at the end of the day, I go to Italy. I've just been in Italy for the last month, and everyone knows who Manchester United are. Manchester United are a famous football club at the end of the day, you know, and we are still there. And people ask me, what's going on with Manchester United? What's going on with Manchester United? You know, everyone wants to know what's happening with Manchester United. Manchester United are the talk of the town. Wherever we go, you'll see a Man United jersey. You will see it. Wherever you go. I was in Italy for a month. I did not see one Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal jersey. Not one. I saw about 5 Man United jerseys in Naples, guys, in Naples. Right, so there you go, and that is what I'm talking about. In the middle of the suburbs of Naples, you see people with Man United shirt, and I actually wanted to go up to someone the other day and take a picture with them and say, "Can I take a picture with you? Like, you got Man." It was that, like, you see what I mean? I want to prove to people that Man United is still massive. So why wouldn't Donnarumma want to sign for Man United? Why wouldn't he want to? We're Manchester United. People have to understand that. It doesn't matter about your little Champions League participation trophy. It doesn't really matter about that, because at the end of the day, you're not going to win it. All right? You're just going to get the money from it and show off at the end of the day. Thank you, Man United, for elevating the Premier League to that standard anyway. But that's what I'm talking about. Why not? And I would say that if Man United signed Donnarumma, Man United signed Mateta or Sesko, and you would start looking at the team and thinking, Yeah, this is looking pretty tasty. It's looking better now, of course. Absolutely. Cornish, how old is Mateta? I think he's 26, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Let me double check this. I could be wrong. I don't want to give false information. So let me just check this. Yeah, don't want to give false information. Mateta. All right, he is 28, actually. He's quite old. But he is his birthday's next year. So he's got a whole year to his birthday. His birthday's June 28th. So he's got a whole year. So he's got 28 still in his peak. He's at his peak, guys. So that's all right. Brian, I take Mateta. Palace are hard to do business with, but if you want your man, you can get him. Exactly, Brian. You can get him. Crystal Palace, I give my hat off to Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace, I lived in a place called Croydon in South London, and it's Crystal Palace territory. I lived there for 2 years, and Crystal Palace are always focused on the community. They're always focused on the street footballer. They're still focused on that, and they're still focused on developing talent. You look at Eze, you look at Mateta, you look at Wharton, you look at various players that play for Crystal Palace over the years. Ian Wright, Chris Armstrong, Gareth Southgate. Well, you know what I mean? And players of that ilk. And you look at them, and I like the way Crystal Palace do their thing. They're a very, very modest club. Their stadium's not all that. It's very run down, you know what I mean? Built on top of a Sainsbury's and things like that. It is a very run down stadium. But what I applaud Crystal Palace is their endless concentration on the community, on bringing players through, young players as well, good young players, and building them up into great players, of course. And if not, they'll sign a player from elsewhere, somewhere else, and he'll become a great player. Of course, Elise, who plays for Bayern Munich, another product from Crystal Palace, of course. And I applaud them for that. They are hard to do business with. Of course they are. But at the end of the day, most of these teams don't feel the need to sell their players anymore. And it's going to be difficult to get players from them. Brighton and Hove Albion are very difficult to do business with. Obviously, they overprice their players significantly. It's like if Man United went in for Baleba, it's going to cost a lot of money for Man United to get him, especially with Man United tax. But as you said there, Brian, you're absolutely right. If you want your man, you can get your man. And that is what it's all about. And I think if they get Mateta in, I think Man United will be a completely different animal next season. I'll be looking at Man United in a completely different light. I'll be looking at Man United thinking, that is a great attacking lineup. That is a very good attacking lineup. I'm happy with that. Absolutely. Big up, Brian. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, of course. Dabby's asked, Mateta and Sesko could both be a deal to, keep Mateta, but build the team around Sesko. Man United won't be able to afford two of them, Dabby's asked. As much as I would love that, I would love Man United to sign two of them. Man United can't afford two. Man United can't afford Sesko and Mateta and spending 150-odd million on both of those players, of course, guys. But it would be amazing. It's what Man United need, Deborah says, but unfortunately we're owned by we know who. So at the end of the day, it's not going to happen, is it? If Man United signed one of them two, I'm not going to turn my nose up at it, and I'm going to support the player regardless. The biggest thing for me, what would upset me, if Man United don't concentrate on a striker and don't sign a striker. That would be very, very disappointing. Yale, I have sadly not seen linked to Mateta, so I could have changed. No, I want to leave. Yale, I know my contacts. We are linked to him, mate. But whether we make a move for him or not is another story. At the end of the day, Yale, you may not see things on social media, but I see things. You know what I mean? Urara, will Man United still go for a goalkeeper? Yes, I think they will. But towards the end of the window, the biggest concern at the moment is whether Man United sign a number one or sign a number two. We could sign Selin Lamens. We could make Selin Lamens number two, and Onana will continue as a number one. The biggest overriding issue at Man United now is whether Onana stays or goes. If Onana stays, he's an asset that is expensive. And Man United can't keep an expensive asset like Onana on the bench, unfortunately. He's earning a lot of money. He's worth 50-odd million. Apparently, that's how much we spent on him. So he is an asset, and Man United would much rather cash in on him, guys, because at the end of the day, the way Man United think at the moment is that if Onana sits on the bench, it's going to devalue him, and he's going to be getting a lot of money. Man United see Onana and think we can cash in on him. But Onana's digging his heels in, and Onana's contracted to Man United, and you know what? He doesn't want to leave Man United. So what does that mean? The likes of a Donnarumma, goalkeepers like that, Emi Martinez, goalkeepers like that, might not come to Man United because we still got Onana playing. However, goalkeepers like Lamens might come to Man United because they're young and they could slowly edge out Onana out of the team, and then Onana could move out of the team, and Lamens could probably become the full-time number one, of course, guys. But we do need to sell Onana. I do believe Onana needs to leave the football club, absolutely. Big up Revert 7. Baleba or Wharton, I'll be happy with that midfield, 78 million though. It's true, Revert 7. Baleba will cost that amount of money. Absolutely. This is what I've been stressing the last week, that it will cost a lot of money. The only way Man United could do this deal is the way they've done the Mbeumo deal. The way they've done it, which is stretch it out and installment plan and stuff like that. That's the way Man United could do it. They could bring in Baleba, pay 20 million, 30 million a year. It's whether Brighton and Hove Albion or Crystal Palace want to do that kind of deal. But as you said, Revert 7, those two signings right there, I mean, imagine Man United signed Baleba and Wharton. Oh, think about it, guys. That's it. It's over. That is it. If Man United signed Baleba and Wharton, the complementing, oh my goodness, it'd be amazing. But they're not going to do that. We know that. But bringing in Baleba or Wharton, Man United would have to work out a payment plan, a structured deal that will benefit Man United over the long term in regards to the PSR and FFP. So 20, 30 million a year, like we tried to do with Mbeumo, which took 50 days to do. Of course, big up Revert 7, you legend. Baleba, Brian, is a big money and goes to Ineos and the Glazers not wanting to spend. It's a problem, Brian, isn't it? The Glazers are always there. Man United, we know what we need to do for Manchester United. We know what needs to be done if Man United are going to slowly close that gap on Liverpool and Arsenal and teams like that. For Man United to close that gap, this is the signings that we need. A Baleba, a Wharton, a Mateta, a Donnarumma. These are the players that Man United need to concentrate on if we are to close the gap on those players. We need to really go for it. And no, I do not accept this, penny pinching business. Now, I will look at things, Brian, and in regards to the Glazers, because I don't like the Glazers. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like the Glazers. But this is Ineos. Ineos, at least the Glazers spent money. At least they spent money. Let's be real here. Whether they spent it badly or not, at least they spent money. Ineos are like the Glazers without spending. And that is astronomically worse, isn't it? You know, so at the end of the day, mank pound and bread come from Manchester, Man United fan, all that crap that they were splurting out, which was absolute lies. Prove it then. Show me I was wrong. Prove that you want Man United to be successful. Show me I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Go out there, get Baleba. Go out there, get Donnarumma. Go out there, get Mateta. Go and get these players. Go and get them in the door. Get a right back. Get a right wing back. We need a right wing back. We ain't got one. You get one. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, and get these players. Look, guys, if Man United sign a striker, a midfielder, and a goalkeeper right now, I mean, Man United fans are not going to turn around and criticize Ineos, because then they would say, well, at least they signed Mbeumo, a midfielder, a striker, and a goalkeeper. I think that's pretty good. Do you know what I mean? And people look at that, added to Diego Leon as well, the young player as well. So people will look at that and say, well, they done their best, they tried. At the moment, we're looking at Man United, and we're looking at them, and we're looking at Ineos, and we're saying they're penny pinchers. They're not trying. They're not really going for it. They're not going tooth and nail for it. You know, people say, oh, you know what, but this player's not good enough. This player's not. They are good enough. You know, Richard Rios, for example, you know, not going for him. Cheap. Wesley, who's gone to Roma, good enough, not going for him, cheap, you know, and that is why we criticize this ownership, you know, because we don't see their passion for Manchester United, guys. We don't see it, unfortunately. Cheap wages, but transfer fee will be extortionate. Absolutely, Revert 7. Yeah, that is the pro. I think someone like Mateta won't ask for much. He won't ask for much more than Onana and players like that at the end of the day. This is why it's good to get rid of wages off your books. For example, Anthony, Garnacho. I mean, players of that ilk, of course, going off the books. Rashford has gone off the books, so that's good. That's 350 grand a week off the books. So, man, I can't afford it, you know. Are we still going for sending? Yes, we are. Who are Man United are interested in sending them in. But whether we make a move or not, at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to, in the short term, make a move. Man United could quite possibly do a deal for a goalkeeper last. So you may see a goalkeeper coming in August, mid-August, around that. Man United, I don't believe, what I'm hearing is that Man United are going to go for a goalkeeper yet, but will go for a goalkeeper towards the end of the window. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is the outfield players for Man United. The goalkeeper is extremely important for me, but this is how they're thinking. The outfield players, the striker, the midfielder, you know, the defense as well. We do need another defender. I think Baleba is above 100 million. I think Man United will get him for about 80. It will probably work up to about 90 if Man United do a installment plan in regards to him. So Man United can do deals like this. This is exactly what Chelsea have been doing. They've been doing installment plans and things like that. You know, you pay it 20 million a year, 30, 40 million a year, which doesn't have an adverse effect on the FFP and PSR. So you can do that. But what we have to remember, if Man United do deals like this, when it comes to January, when it comes to next summer, you know, we're not going to be doing deals because we still owe money on that transfer and we have to concentrate on that transfer. So don't be surprised if next summer, Man United are going to say that we still owe money on the Mbeumo transfer. That is going to come out. We still owe money on the Mbeumo transfer. And this is why we needed a full sale, isn't it? You know, big up, Brian. We came 15th. Honestly, I think our owners forget that. I said it yesterday, Brian. Liverpool, as much as I hate to say it, have been working like they came 15th last season. They've been signing players like they came 15th last season. We're going about like we're the champions. That's how we're going by. We don't need to sign players. We're the champions. We're good. You know what I mean? That's how we go. We buy Mbeumo, we buy Cunha. We're the champions. And that's it. We just add a little bit to the team. And that is how we're acting. Unfortunately, Liverpool are acting like they came 15th and they're actually going mad in this transfer window. If they sign Isaac, then it's going to be absolutely peak. Do you know what I mean? Benny, Baleba would be a fantastic signing for us. Baleba, Sesko, or Mateta and the goalkeeper. Then we would be looking a lot better at the champ. I mean, at the end of the day, Benny Marine, big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. It's not going to take much for us to look good again. It's not as far away as people think. If we got Baleba, if we got Sesko, if we got Baleba, if we got Mateta, right, and a goalkeeper, absolutely spot on, Marine. We will start looking like a proper football team. We'll start looking like, well, yeah, we're looking quite sharp. Now, look, I don't want to discount Kobe Mainoo and Ugarte. I don't want to give up on them because I do believe they're very good. And I think circumstances and context contributed to a poor season last season for everyone, not just those two. And watching Ugarte and watching Mainoo, I think if they played together a lot more, I think they'd be brilliant. But there's no harm in competition in that squad. And this is the problem that we're having at the moment. We don't have a squad. If we brought in Baleba and Sesko, our squad will start looking pretty tasty again, wouldn't it, at the end of the day? And I would be confident of Man United qualifying for the Champions League. I'll be honest. If Man United signed Baleba, like my friend Benny says here, if we signed Baleba, Sesko, and a goalkeeper, or Mateta, right, I could see Man United getting in the Champions League next season. I could see that. And whatever happens, if we could get further, so be it. Brilliant. Good morning, Chow. How you doing, my friend? I'll be doing well. Guys, I noticed Wilcox and Barada are both on the US tour. It's ridiculous. And this is exactly what I'm saying, Chow. You bring up you're correct. Before, a few weeks ago, I said, I don't want to see Barada. I don't want to see Wilcox. I don't want to see Vavel on that US tour. I don't want to see him there. Unfortunately, they're on the US tour, soaking up the sunshine and things like that when they should be working on Manchester United. Let me tell you this right now. We are not a holiday home. This has been happening for years where they've been abroad on holiday. They've just bloody been on holiday. You know what I mean? Now they're on, why are Wilcox? Why is Barada in bloody USA? Why are they there? PR? Oh, we've been preparing for the transfer market for a very long time. We've got good plans. Mate, get your butt to Europe and start doing some bloody transfers, for goodness sake. Because at the end of the day, we're tired of this. We're tired of you soaking in the ego, because that's what it is. It's an ego thing. Going to America. Oh, look at us. Oh, let's go to America and Man United and the players. Oh, that's what they do. Go out there and do some bloody transfers. Go out there and get things done. Look, I'm not saying that Vivel is not out there. I'm not saying that they can't do deals. But if they want to speed up deals, if they want to get the deals done face to face, that's what they need to do. And they need to go out there. If they want Baleba, if they want Mateta, if they want Sesko, if they want any one of those players, they're going to have to work for it. Not sitting on the sunbed in bloody Chicago. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, or Atlanta, wherever they are, they shouldn't be there. They should not be there. They should be working on deals as we spoke. Absolutely, Chow. Big up, Kevin. Good to see you, mate. It would be great. Absolutely. Good to see Kevin in the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're good. Good to see you again, of course. Afro Suit, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Morning, Sal. Bruno in a double pivot midfield. Can't wait. Let's buy a new no-nonsense midfield like Bababa. Then we will have a very good season. Afro Suit, you're absolutely right, mate. You know, I spoke intensively about Bruno Fernandes playing in that number 8 the other day, and I just don't think he's going to play. He's good enough to play the number 8. Unfortunately, Afro Suit, You know, my biggest criticism, if I was to criticize Ruben Amorim, okay, let's forget about everything else. Let's forget about transfers and stuff. If I was to criticize Ruben Amorim right now, it would be favoritism. There's a couple of players there that shouldn't be playing. Players like Bruno play non-stop wherever. And the problem is you can play your favorite player, if they're playing in their correct position. But we're sort of like shoehorning players into different positions because he's the favorite player. You know, and that is what's disappointing, and that is what's worrying for me. You know, Man United know what we need to do. If you really want success for this football club, we know what we need to do. Man United know what they need to do. They know they need a Baleba. They know they need Mateta. They know they need a Sesko. They know they need a Donnarumma or Lamens. They know that. You know what I mean? You know, but if we're going to continue squeezing players into the team because he's your mate, that is when it starts to get a little bit, you know what, mates rates again. And we've heard that before, mates rates. Now, whatever Ruben Amorim does next season, he's going to move Bruno into the number 8. It's going to be guaranteed. He's going to do it. I would bet anything that Bruno will play the number 8 at his first game of the season against Arsenal next season. Now, he's going to live and die on his sword. This is what it is at the end of the day. He will live and die on his sword. This is what it's going to be. And you know, if it doesn't work, he's going to pay the consequences, isn't he, at the end of the day? Thank you so much, Afro Soup. Hope you're well. Brian, we got the top by making big moves, and now our board have forgotten that. Exactly, Brian. We took risks. Many people would say, like, I remember when Man United, just before Man United signed Wayne Rooney, of course, Wayne Rooney was coming off the back of a fantastic European Championships, of course. And I remember Man United going in for Wayne Rooney. And I remember I was working at that time in Southwark Crown Court. And I wasn't there on a trial. I was working there. And I remember on that day that Man United played Fenerbahce, and obviously Wayne Rooney just signed for Man United. Wayne Rooney was about to do his debut. People were telling me that, you know, Wayne Rooney's a big risk. He's a big risk. He's played for Everton. You know, signing him on based of one tournament. You're taking a big risk. 30-odd million for Wayne Rooney. It's too much. You're paying overpriced. He's going to flop. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. It was a risk. It was a risk. And the rest is history, of course. We know what happened. We know what went on to happen with Wayne Rooney, didn't we? And that is what we're talking about. You know, and in football, in life in general, especially in football, you're going to have to take risks. Every signing is a risk at the end of the day. Every signing, when you weigh it down, is a risk, because you don't know if we sign, for example, we go and sign Sesko, he has a knee injury in his first game, or we get Mateta and he's fit all season. You never know. Something could happen. Football is always about risk. You can't worry too much about it. But what you have to do, you have to look at the facts and what the player is, what he's done there, how he can influence the team. Now, I look at things, I think, how can he influence the team? How can Sesko and Mateta influence the team? And I look at Mateta and I think he can influence the team. He can lead the line. He can score goals. He's Premier League proven. He can head the ball. You know, man of the match in the FA Cup final. Big game player, of course. I look at Sesko and I think 22, got the ceiling. You know, he can get better at Man United. He's very highly rated. 2 years, he's been highly rated. You know, doesn't score many goals, but scores great goals sometimes. So he's got something there in regards to talent. And that's what I would say, guys. Absolutely. Melissa, the problem is trying to get Premier League players. This very team doesn't want United to go back to where they were. It's a good point. So we were extremely difficult. No one likes us in this. No one likes us, especially Man United. There's no coincidence that the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea find it very easy to sign players because they're not deemed a threat. Over the last 20, 30 years, Man United have put the Premier League on the map. And instead of hating on us, these our rivals, these teams like Crystal Palace, like Brighton, etc., should be thanking Manchester United. They shouldn't be hating on Man United. They should be thanking Manchester United, even Arsenal and teams like that, because of what we did for the Premier League over many, many years on a period when the Premier League was in the mud, right? When English football was in the mud, hooliganism and stuff like that, you know, it was in the mud and we were banned from Europe. You know, it was Manchester United who brought us back to work the Premier League and English football back to the top or back to a competitive level, okay? So football, back when I was younger, was really dying. It was when in the late 80s, when we had obviously Hillsborough disaster, we had a lot of things go on, of course, as well, guys. And, you know, football in England wasn't the best place to be. And even the government, or Margaret Thatcher at the time, whoever it was, I don't think it was Margaret Thatcher or John Major, they had big concerns about football. They had a lot of concerns about it in England. And, you know, for Manchester United to come along, you know, and change English football, the scope of English football, the dynamics of English football, the making English football attractive again, making English football what it was, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. and being pioneers of the Champions League again. You know what I mean? In England, we were the first team to believe in European competition. We were the first team to play in European competition in England. No, we were the ones who believed in the Champions League. No one else believed in it. In 1958, we sacrificed ourselves for it. And this is what they don't understand, these rival teams. They don't understand the legacy of Man United. There should be a Busby Babes Day in England. There should be a minute silence on every single Premier League ground around for what we did for English football. For what we did for English football. There should be that. For going 10 years later to winning the 1968 European Cup. You know, and this is what people don't understand. And yet, even after our period of unsuccess, being a cup team during the 70s, late 70s and 80s, we were a cup team, you know. We still came back and built the Premier League and saved the Premier League for what it was. We saved English football. We saved Division 1. We saved the Premier League. That's what we did. And for us, right, to sit here now and to read articles about how Man United are this, Man United are that, Talk Sport, ESPN FC, hate Man United, hate Man United, hate Man United. They should be thanking Man United, you know, at the end of the day. A lot of those pundits wouldn't be married with kids if it wasn't for Man United and the way they elevated the Premier League. And that's what I say to the wives that they're married to. Let me tell you that right now. Right, so at the end of the day, a big thank you would be nice. That would be good. And they should, you know, all these Premier League teams should understand this, right? They should understand this, that the Premier League would be nothing if it wasn't for Manchester United right now. I would say that. And if Manchester United turn around right, even now at our worst period, if they turned around right now and walked away from the Premier League and brought all the fan base with it, the Premier League will be not even half of what it is right now. Let me tell you that right now. Guys, absolutely. Let's read some of your comments. The rest of the comments. Big up, Mark. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're blessed. Good to see you. Big up, Randy. Hope you're doing good. Randy, good morning. Hope you're blessed. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Of course, big up, Lanzo. Good morning. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again, of course. Absolutely, that's true, Cornish. The great thing about this deal is that Anthony wants to go to Al Nassr, which is great, of course. Amara, Sal, do you think our legends are helping the team at all? They will go and sit and criticizing the team, which is at the end of the day, I don't mind them criticizing the team as long as they don't criticize the manager. Unfortunately, a lot of them are criticizing the manager and not looking at the context. That is my biggest concern. At the end of the day, these players deserve criticism, you know, at the end of the day, especially after what happened last season. Of course, mind you, I'm glad I'm not at Spurs right now. They are looking pretty bad, Timo. I would agree with that. Big up, Timo. They are looking pretty bad. Of course, big up Spirit of LFC fans. Hope you're doing well. Rival fans are welcome. Hope you're blessed. Hope you're good, of course. Big up Mike Jones. It's because they only assigned a new goalkeeper. Yeah, Chatterboxer, or something like that. Big up Mike Jones. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, guys. And big up Ellen, you absolute legend. Thank you so much for joining the membership, and I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, of course. And big up all the members in the chat as well. Big up Dabby's ass as well, guys. It's been a great show, as usual, guys. Grayo, 31 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get to 50 likes, guys. Big up Grayo, you legend. Let's get to 50 likes, guys. Absolutely. Let's try and do that. Of my dreams. It is mine as well, Ellen. Absolutely. It's my goalkeeper of my dreams as well, guys. Absolutely true, of course. So, sorry if I can't get through all the messages, of course. Big up Roya, let it go. Big up everyone. I hope you're all doing well, of course. And big up Chris O'Hagan. Absolutely. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Let me read your comment. If I was the player, I'd want to be one of the guys to bring legendary club back to the top. Absolutely. Once again. One for the history books forever. We are still a massive, huge club. I see shirts. I like this comment. You know that because at the end of the day, there are some players out there that think like this, Chris. There are some players that think like, I want to bring Man United back to where they want, like Mbeumo and players like that. I want to be that guy that brought Man United back to the top. That is an incentive alone because we are the biggest club. So if Man United, one player gets Man United back to the top, you know how we do things, Chris, everyone at Man United. We respect players. We respect them. If someone grabbed Man United from where they are, from the depths of the sea, and brought us up and winning a Premier League title again or a Champions League trophy, they would bloody get a statue, the way things are going at the moment. You know, they would be deemed a Manchester United legend. And we respect our legends. And that is an incentive alone for a player to come to Manchester United, absolutely. Absolutely. Take Surloff, says Alroy Atletico. I mean, a lot of word about Surloff. He's not bad. He played for Crystal Palace, didn't he, for a while. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, my friend Peter. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, of course. Good to see you, guys. And guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to smash a like on the video if you can. Guys, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Big up Fanactive 8. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're blessed, my friend. Guys, and yeah, put your notifications on as well in case I go live. That's important as well, guys, because you never know what can happen to Man United. Miracles do happen at the end of the day. Guys, have a great day, evening, whatever you're doing. I will be back later anyway for Chatterbox. Take it easy. I'm Sal Warner, and this is Breaking Dawn. See you soon. Peace.